14 pounds and I'm losing weight fast while staying motivated. The place is busy because the results speak for themselves. Want to experience it for yourself? Visit Metrum MD in Palm Beach Gardens for a free consultation or check out MetrumMD.com. That's M-E-T, the word trim, MD.com. Let's do this thing together.
The South Florida Fair is almost here. Buy your advance tickets now and you can save up to 50%. Plus, if you use your discount admission ticket on opening day of the fair, you can keep it and visit the fair another day courtesy of Publix. That's 2 days of fun for the price of one.
South Florida Fair discount tickets are on sale now at Publix and online at southfloridafair.com. Fair opens January 17 in West Palm Beach. South Florida Fair.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
It's ESPN 106.3, your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet. Home of the Miami Dolphins, Miami Hurricanes, and all of the biggest football matchups throughout the week. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sports book. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned by gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Jar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
I wonder what a team like the Chargers, who got a great defensive line, a great head coach, a disciplined team, are going to do. Colin, I could see this being a 34-14 fair for the Chargers.
Picked off. Fourth of the day for Houston, Derek Stingley. The Texans advance with a 32-12 victory over the Chargers. The 4 seed is moving on.
Huddle up.
66 Hitchx Vegas Flair. I'm one ready.
It's time to break down the boldest plays.
Let's go, baby. Boom.
Hardest hits. Boom. And the craziest stories from around the NFL.
Touchdown Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
You heard it there. That was Mike Rizzo, who was very confident in the Chargers' ability to take down the Houston Texans in the wild card round earlier this week. But the Houston Texans had other things in mind. A 32-12 final score, and that one is the Texans move on in the wild card round in the NFL. Hi, everybody. Colin Russo here. Joined alongside me is Cade Chumsland. It's Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3. We're live from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Got you from 10 to 12, leading you up to the next slate, the 3-game slate, triple header of NFL playoff football that we have on this fine Sunday, the 12th of January in 2025. Hard Rock Bet, now that we're in wild card round, basically in the second to last of a 5-day stretch of playoff football back-to-back, including the college football playoff. There's no better time, really, to get started over on Hard Rock Bet. Go download it on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today, or go to hardrock.bet online to get started today. All you got to do, even if you're not a type who likes to put a ton of money into certain games, bet as little as $1, put a parlay together. And if you don't even know what to bet on your parlay, go to the Discover page and check out trending parlays that are built by other users in the app. So you could just go check out the Discover page, see what they got, and whatever you like. If you like this bet, all right, couple taps on the app, and then all of a sudden you're tailing it as well. It's that easy. It's that simple to get involved. And it's also got the sophistication, if you're looking for it, that the experienced player is really looking for. It caters to both sides. Hard Rock Bet is the best place to sports bet in the state of Florida. Go get started now if you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay, can be a prop, can be the over. Whatever you like to bet, any game you choose, you either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. It's Hard Rock Bet, offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned by gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Colin Russo and Cade Chumsland with you. Cade Chumsland, the Houston Texan fan of the bunch. Cade, let's just put it this way. For a team that won their division and for a team that was getting a home playoff game, I don't know if I've seen a team in this first round of the playoffs that was counted out more so than what the Houston Texans were yesterday in that first round.
The complete dogs, but rightfully so, right? Let's be honest. The product on the field throughout the regular season did not really reflect a team like they should have won their division, hosted a playoff game, especially when we got the Minnesota Vikings on the NFC.
They were hobbled to the end of the
right,
finish line.
5-6 their last 11 games in the regular season, and they just came out and they set all of that aside, and it took them a second. The defense balled out like they've been doing. C.J. Stroud took a little bit of an extra second, but once it clicked, like I've been saying, once he got out of his own head, started running the ball a little bit more, started making easy completions, shorter plays.
Stop trying to play hero ball.
You never saw that big play down the field. I think they took one shot that maybe was going to Nico Collins down the sideline, but everything else was securing the ball. Some of a few fumbles, obviously, but this was good, efficient Houston Texans football that I've been waiting for all season long.
Yeah, and one thing about the Texans, too, is they were pretty good off script as well. Of course, they had on that fumbled snap, and then he had that 40-yard completion.
Changed the whole game.
That changed the whole game. That was one of the biggest plays of the game. So off of that, a couple things to take away from that. Number one, good for that Texan defense for keeping them in that game and waiting for the offense to finally pick up some slack. They didn't necessarily budge. They held that Charger offense in check, and then eventually, when that Houston offense was ready to put something together offensively, the defense was ready to complement that continuously. So, off of that, good for the Texans on that win. I was on the other side of this as well. I thought the Chargers were going to win this game because the Chargers were trending up and the Texans were trending down. But what is my takeaway coming after that game? There's an elephant in the room that we should address, and it's none other than Justin Herbert. That game, to me, looked like a game where the moment looked a little too big for the team. And that was the Chargers. The moment looked a little too big for the Chargers. And you know for a fact the moment's not too big for Harbaugh. You know that.
No.
Because he's been there. He's done it. Both levels, college and the NFL. He's been there. There's no doubt. Jim Harbaugh is not getting nervous about the moment at Houston in the wild card round.
The defense did their job, too. This is not on the Chargers' defense.
It was that offense, and more importantly, that quarterback, Justin Herbert. Let's take a second and acknowledge that finally, let's take a nice big pause and pull Herbert out of any sort of conversation that puts him anywhere near the top tier signal caller in the NFL, or play caller, quarterback in the NFL. Let's take a nice long pause and drag him backward. Because this is a guy now who has been in the NFL for 5 years, and there is not a single notable game to his resume. Not one. Justin Herbert does not have a Justin Herbert game. His legacy, if you will, to this point, is two of the more embarrassing wild card losses that we've seen in the last 5-10 years.
To AFC South teams, no less.
One was on the road. Both were on the road. Fine. But as bad of losses as you could find, 0-2 in those games. Blew a 27-point lead to the Jaguars 2 years ago. And then what happened yesterday, 32-12, where you throw 4 interceptions against the Houston Texans. Let's take a second. And for those who love to proclaim Justin Herbert as the next coming, ultimately talented, waiting for his moment, let's pull him back. He is closer to Dak Prescott and Tony Romo than he is to Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. He is closer to the Alex Smiths of the world than anybody in that upper echelon. That is where Herbert lies until further notice. He was god-awful in that game. The moment was too big for him. And I think, rightfully so, it's time to question how good this kid really is. You can't have that clean of a regular season. And then the second the lights get bright, shrivel up and die. You can't do it.
And you're specifically talking about NFL good. Because there's football good. Justin Herbert is good at the game of football.
And he's an immensely talented person.
But is he good at playing NFL football, meaning when the lights are the brightest, when the crowds are the biggest, and when the cameras are all pointed at you, can you make something happen? And so far, like you said, there's not a single game in his career where you can point at and say, that's how Justin Herbert plays.
And you can't sit here and say, well, Lamar didn't figure it out in the postseason. He still kind of hasn't figured it out in the postseason. Well, Lamar is about to get his third most valuable player in this very league. Herbert is not he's not as talented as Lamar. He's not as valuable as Lamar. He's not as good as Lamar. And I have problems with how Lamar plays in the postseason. He played okay. He played pretty good yesterday. But it's time for us to start coming to a conclusion about what he offers them in terms of a high-end quarterback, because he's not a high-end quarterback. High-end quarterbacks show up in the postseason. High-end quarterbacks don't shrivel up when the lights get bright. And 2 times now, Herbert has done that. And it's not against the 85 Bears. Let's put it that way. He's not playing the 2001 Rams. It was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who won 9 games, and the Houston Texans, who were limping their way into the postseason at 10 wins. He wasn't losing to the great teams in the NFL. And he lost in embarrassing fashion. Let's forget about Justin Herbert. I'm off of that. And C.J. Stroud played a winning game. Didn't play great.
No.
But he played a winning game.
Which is all Justin Herbert needed to do.
I think he started to sit into the game a little bit.
Yep.
Stroud started realizing, all right, this defense is really setting me up here. Let's not make it all for nothing. They started to take that for what it is. Herbert, on the other hand, they had a great first drive of the game. It was 6-0 for the majority of the first half. The defense is turnovers, great stops, tackling well, covering well. Texans couldn't get anything going. Gave him every opportunity in the book to put that game away in the first half.
Joe Mixon had 3 yards in the first half.
They were excellent. They were excellent in that first half. So that tells you that Harbaugh, Minter, and company were not wavering at the prospect of a wild card matchup under the bright lights in the Saturday early slot. This is not even Sunday night football. And eventually, there comes a point in time where if the offense is struggling that much, there's only so much the defense can do. And that's what you saw yesterday. Let's forget about Herbert for a second, and let's start to really question where we have him rated amongst the NFL's elite, because he is not there. He's not there. And it's 5 years in the NFL. Closer to Tua than he is to Mahomes. That's where Herbert lies. He is closer to Tua Tagovailoa than he is to Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
He's your ultimate stat stacker. He'll put you the numbers. He'll get you some touchdowns. He's going to rely heavily on his defense. But as soon as the pressure comes on him, he always folds.
Let's think about this. So he's been in the league for 5 years. He's had 2 years with 10-plus wins. He's been in the playoffs twice. And the first time around, he was getting stats galore. 35 touchdowns. He broke the rookie record. He was throwing it all over the field. But it was the offensive coach's problem. They had plenty of talent, but just the offensive coach stunk. They couldn't win a big game. Defense was okay. Probably should have gotten more out of with the talent they had. All right, so they got rid of the coach. Then all of a sudden, you bring in a proven winner in Jim Harbaugh. He kind of changes up the tone of that team. Defense. Don't beat yourself. Protect the football. Run the football. Utilize Herbert when you need to. Hard-nosed. Winning football. And it worked. Had a good year. And then when you get to this, you're only as good as the quarterback will take you when the playoffs come around. Steelers showed you that yesterday, too. You got to make sure the quarterback is firing, at least in some sense, to survive in the postseason. And when the quarterback is not only not firing, but he was directly helping the other team by turning the ball over left and right, missing wide open receivers, sailing the ball, basically as frazzled as you could possibly look as an NFL player. Only so much that great defense and that hard-nosed football can do.
You saw the graphic afterwards on social media that said, here's all the players that had multiple receptions from Justin Herbert tonight. Ladd McConkey, I think it was Will Disley as the other one, and Derek Stingley Jr.
Yeah.
Those are the only 3 players that caught multiple passes from Justin yesterday.
I can't sit here and listen they desperately need more playmakers. Did you watch what Herbert was doing yesterday? Yeah, there was the interception off the drop. I understand that. But there were a couple egregious missed throws. Frazzled. Ugly football game.
He had
Justin
no
Herbert.
touch yesterday.
No touch.
Everything was a bullet. Even I'm talking 5-yard checkdowns, lasers. Wide receivers, tight ends, nobody's got a chance at catching that ball. He had no touch. He was rifling everything. And when you rifle something, you give no opportunity for the receiver to even adjust to the ball. Hence, even more interceptions after that.
Jacksonville Jaguars were down 27-7 at halftime against the Chargers, and the Chargers blew that game. And Herbert was basically absolved of all wrongdoing in that one. It was always the coach with him. This time around, you can't blame the coach. This time around, you can't blame mismanagement of a team. Even if you want to say there's not enough playmakers, forget it. We have to place some blame on Herbert and company, because for those of you that think that Justin Herbert is amongst the elite, it's time for us to second guess. If you're successful in the regular season and you take a dramatic drop off, small sample size, a dramatic drop off once you hit postseason play, they have tiers of quarterbacks for people like that. Tony Romo, Prescott. That's where he hangs around. Tua, that's where he is. He's not amongst the others. Josh Allen is so much better in the postseason than he is in the regular season, and he's an absurdly good regular season player. Mahomes, even better in the postseason. Rodgers, a great postseason player. Those guys step up to the plate. Herbert, to this point, has shown that he cannot. I'm over Herbert. I'm over it. I never really was on, but I'm off it. Maybe because I saw that Jacksonville Jaguar blown lead a couple years ago. Maybe I just saw a vision. I saw the premonition of what he offers you in the postseason, and he was god-awful yesterday. And I can't believe that's the takeaway, because the Texans, that defense played great.
That defense was absurd yesterday.
Defense played great. They frazzled him. That was the goal.
Yeah,
Let's frazzle the quarterback.
Defensive line did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Frazzle the quarterback, never make him comfortable. So you got to give them their flowers too. But the way I look at that is that game got out of hand. That wasn't Houston dominating for 4 quarters. The game got out of hand. Herbert started turning it over left and right. It was a collapse, which is why I view it from the Chargers' perspective more so than the Texans, because the Chargers had every opportunity to make that game 20-0 in the first half.
Easy.
Every opportunity.
I was waiting for it to happen.
I was waiting for them to blow it open. And then the last minute of the first half, they give up 10 quick points. That is where the beginning of the end started to come about. That is where the Chargers, it was a little too little on fumes defensively, and the offense was seeing ghosts. Seeing ghosts. I'm over them. But to the Texans' point, now as a Texan fan of the group, you're going in to play Kansas City next week.
Yep.
Likely. Unless there's a big upset. To me, I would have rather seen the Chargers play the Chiefs, because I like the Chargers in that interdivisional matchup.
Of course.
And they probably play them a little better. So I don't know how much juice there's actually going to be out of that Houston Texan Chief game, considering we saw it 3 weeks ago. And Houston played pretty well for the first half. And then, again, the Chiefs would do what they do, and it was a
classic game for both teams. Make it close in the first half, let the Chiefs blow it open in the second half. That's exactly how it was supposed to play out.
Right. So there's not a ton of juice in that game, unfortunately. For you, I understand there is. But maybe this is the desperate piece of momentum that team needed. Maybe that's what the Texans needed.
This is exactly the type of game the Texans needed, where you start off slow and finish strong. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I believe there was about a 66-point difference between the first half and the second half for the whole season for the Texans. They were like plus 66 in the first half, minus 66 in the second half. They could not hold a candle in the fourth quarter, and they did the opposite in this game. So that's got to give you some confidence that you know how to finish out games and you're not scared when big moments happen. Because let's be honest, that 85-yard touchdown from Ladd McConkey could have been the beginning of the end for that Texans lead.
Had they gone a 3-and-out afterwards, Justin Herbert moves the ball again. But the fact that they were able to hold on to it and score a late touchdown to really put the dagger in the game, big-time stuff from the Texans. C.J. Stroud getting out of his own head. I mentioned it earlier, but C.J.'s fast. The fact that he has not been running the ball all year has been a little confusing. He did not let the game or the receivers dictate his decisions. All year long, it has been, nobody's open, let me force something. Nobody's open, let me throw it out of bounds. Nobody's open, check down, loss of yardage. This time, he saw no one was open, got out of the pocket, and then scrambled. 27-yard rush was a season high for him this year. Also had a couple first down rushes, had a QB sneak for a first down. It was unbelievable to see him open up his gaze and to let his talent and his abilities dictate what he can do instead of the play forcing him to make a decision. If he can stay that open to possibilities, that will then open up the running game, because I was very confused why they started off with the pass. Joe Mixon, I think, had 3 yards and only a few carries in that first half. They didn't give him the ball at all.
The Charger defense is great, too, so they were probably playing out of that, playing away from that.
That, too, but also wouldn't you want to try to establish the run as early as possible? Play-action pass was not a thing because they couldn't run the ball. So it was empty set, let's give CJ the ball, which I was terrified of because
that's a lot of what you saw the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Exactly, and it hadn't been working. So I was terrified when this game started. But then the fact that he didn't force anything deep, it was checkdowns, it was across the middle, letting the defense open up plays for C.J. Stroud to make those plays. It was just super good, efficient football. C.J. had the one egregious interception in the first half. Don't know what that was.
The other one called back, of course.
Other one called back. It was it was so freeing to me. It was such a sigh of relief.
Houston hasn't had a shot in the arm in probably the better part of a month.
Yeah.
And they finally got that. And it was off the Chargers in a lot of ways collapsing. But to the same point, the Houston defense is a big part of why that Charger team.
Do you need to give a quick shout out, though?
Go ahead.
Yesterday during the game, I had my parents come down from Orlando. It was a lot of fun. We were all watching the game together. The drive, the first play where Herbert throws the pick six, my dad looks at me and goes, really could use a pick six right here for the dagger. And the next play was the Eric Murray pick six.
Called it out?
The very next play. So shout out to my father. I told him he has to come back down next week for the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's going to happen.
You got to keep up the mojo.
The mojo in my house last night was at an all-time high for this game.
You think about the Chargers for a second, only 2 penalties all game. 3 for 11 on third down. Texans had 8 penalties for 86 yards. I can't point to coaching all that much when the quarterback throws 4 interceptions. I cannot do it. You know the moment wasn't too big for Harbaugh. I think it's time for us to start really thinking a little objectively on about if the moment was a little too big for Justin Herbert. Closer to Tua than he is to Mahomes. Let's keep that clear. You got to show up in the postseason in this league, and he hasn't yet through 5 seasons. So we continue onward here. It's Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet over on ESPN 106.3. That was Kate Chumsland, Colin Russo with you. Steelers, another team that was trending downward, and that went a bit about how you'd expect. We thought the Chargers and the Texans was going to go about teams trending downward, looking towards the offseason, as in the Texans, and the Chargers putting them away. We thought that was going to be the case there. That did not happen. But the Ravens-Steelers game went about just about how you'd expect. Steelers team was struggling towards the end of the year. Couldn't really get anything going. Ravens put them away. We'll get into that next. Is it time for us to start questioning how the Steelers are built, how they're constructed? And I'm not just talking about the roster. We'll do that a little bit next. It's Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Let's be honest. If your performance in the bedroom feels more like, uh-oh, than whoa, you're not alone. But don't worry, we've got just the thing for you. Hexus MD's new Performance Blend. No awkward doctor visits, no prescriptions or crazy side effects, just a powerful, easy-to-use pill that gets you back in the game. Hexus MD's new Performance Blend works in just 15 minutes, and it's stronger than the competition. Use discount code ESPN50 for 50% off your first order. Don't wait. Visit HEXISMD.com.
Hi, it's Luis Fonsi. In the world of music, versatility allows you to capture the moment and create something amazing. Ford SUVs are designed with the same versatility in mind. The Ford Escape or Explorer can make any day a beach day with room for family and all your gear. And the Ford Bronco or Bronco Sport give you the freedom to go over, around, or through almost anything that comes your way. Ford SUVs, perfect for South Florida. See your local Ford dealer today.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
It's the Good Greek Spiro. For the best move ever, go to goodgreek.com.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay.
Let's go!
Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash. Rainy season is upon us. What a great time to join our $44.95 Unlimited Inside and Out Club. And use any of our 6 locations. Find a location near you at unlimitedautowashclub.com or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees in the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 20 national championships, including the 2024 Women's Swimming and Diving Championship and 2023 football, lacrosse, and men's swimming and diving titles. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest.
Hi, Evan Cohen here with a special message for fans listening to ESPN 106.3 on a smart speaker. If you're not listening to me right now on a smart speaker, just hum to yourself quietly for a second. Hi, smart speaker listeners. Isn't this convenient? All you had to do was say play ESPN 106.3, and bam, here I am. You could have asked for a chicken marsala recipe or gotten the weather in Bangladesh, but you asked your smart speaker to play ESPN 106.3. Way to go! I appreciate you. Okay, everyone else, come back now. Keep listening to ESPN 106.3. Thank you.
If you are buying a new home in Palm Beach County, whether it's your first time or you're upgrading or downsizing, the clerk's office is the services you need to help protect your investment. Sign up for our Property Fraud Alert program, offering free monitoring of Palm Beach County's official records. You will get an alert if a document, such as a deed or mortgage, is recorded using your name or address. For more information, head to our website at mypalmbeachclerk.com/homeowners. Congratulations on your new home. We are always here to help.
The South Florida Fair is almost here. Buy your advance tickets now and you can save up to 50%. Plus, if you use your discount admission ticket on opening day of the fair, you can keep it and visit the fair another day courtesy of Publix. That's 2 days of fun for the price of one.
South Florida Fair discount tickets are on sale now at Publix and online at southfloridafair.com. Fair opens January 17 in West Palm Beach. South Florida Fair.
That Texan team stinks right now.
I think
ever since they lost Stephon Diggs, they've been a major a dumpster fire.
Stroud laces it. Touchdown! Nico Collins!
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
In my defense, nothing of what I said there was necessarily incorrect from the game sample size that we had since Stephon Diggs went down in November. But we move on here at Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet over on ESPN 106.3. We all know about the terrible wildfires that are going on at Los Angeles, Southern California, in the Palisades area, now spreading over to maybe the Brentwood areas of Los Angeles. Just true devastation. Houses, businesses, buildings just completely burnt to the ground off the terrible wildfires. And there's a lot of people, a lot of families that need help. So for those people who are able to, consider donating to help the people affected by the California wildfires over in 2025. You could donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover as now time of trying to maintain these fires and then now helping those whose families have lost homes. I actually know people who have lost homes, and it's just complete devastation. And entire neighborhoods just completely to the ground. It's unbelievable. And those people need help. So please consider donating over at redcross.org/ESPN. We got some coaching news before we get to that Steeler game. And I guess the writing was on the wall when we saw last week when Gerard Mayo was dismissed from the team, from the Patriots, that is, after Week 18, after only one season. There was only really one logical explanation. Everybody was under the impression that Mayo was going to hang around, give him a chance. But it sounds like they wanted to go get Mike Vrabel. And that's exactly what the Patriots did, as they are now finalizing an agreement per Adam Schefter with Mike Vrabel to make him the next head coach for the New England Patriots. And he's exactly what New England really embodies. He played for the Patriots. It's going to be a multi-year agreement. He's going to be the 7th head coach for the franchise. He once helped to win a Super Bowl with them as a player. So Vrabel is going to be coaching the Patriots next year. He is the next domino to fall in the coaching sweepstakes. Patriots are now off the board, settled, done. To some, I guess, if you want to call it criticism, due to how they handled the coaching search, and especially with the Rooney Rule and having to interview minority candidates, and the Patriots were just doing that, going after Byron Leftwich and people that they didn't really think were in the running for head coaching gigs. So people criticized the Patriots and how they handled the search. But at the end of the day, they got their guy. Everybody knew they were going to get Vrabel. There's a bunch of rules and regulations that they have to do in order to get these coaches, and that is what they did. Mike Vrabel going to be the next head coach of the New England Patriots. Good hire, no problem with me. Unless they had some sort of inkling that Ben Johnson would drop everything and go to the Patriots, I think this is probably the safest move. The conservative side, he embodies the Patriot way. He's going to get along with ownership. The fans will like him. I think this is going to be a good long-term solution for them.
I don't think it needs to be said that that's a good long-term solution, but why get Gerard Mayo in the first place?
Right, because he was available last year.
Vrabel was available last year. You knew you were getting a rookie quarterback next year. Why not get the guy for the long-term future to start with the rookie quarterback in his first year? Because this is different. Like, I compare this so much to how the Houston Texans did it, where you grab Lovie Smith, and you knew Lovie Smith was not your guy, but you didn't get the rookie quarterback that year. You let him go one more year with Davis Mills. It obviously went terrible, and you win that last game of the regular season, ultimately ended up getting C.J. Stroud. But that's when you got DeMeco Ryans for the 6-year deal. So that DeMeco Ryans, Will Anderson Jr., and C.J. Stroud, all three of those guys could build this team together. Why wouldn't you do that with Mike Vrabel? And I know isn't Mike Vrabel a defensive guy through and through? Okay, so maybe that's why they weren't necessarily concerned. But still, if I'm working with a rookie quarterback for a coach that you know is going to be the long-term deal, why not get those two guys at the same time? I'm so confused on where – and they sold us so hard on Gerard Mayo. They said this was the guy who we wanted to take over for Bill Belichick. Lovie Smith was simply a replacement. Everyone knew that he was a short-term replacement coach. Nobody said that about Gerard Mayo, and then they just pulled the plug on him instantly after losing the number 1 pick.
Well, yeah, because Gerard Mayo, he was questioning on why he even got the job because he was a linebacker coach. It was a bit of a leap in responsibility for Gerard Mayo, so there was people questioning on whether he could handle it. And then evidently there was times during the season where Gerard Mayo was a little inexperienced at head coach, especially with the media. And I guess now they had a change of heart. Now, Belichick leaving, you don't know what type of message that Belichick left to the Crafts on his way out. If he said, hey, keep somebody in-house here, Gerard Mayo might be your guy. Maybe that was the vote of confidence, and maybe what is Kraft supposed to do there? Or maybe it was along the lines of, we could maintain the Belichick way in the aggregate via Gerard Mayo because he's already there, another guy who embodies the Patriot way. He's in-house. It will make us look good as a franchise if we don't branch out. And I think they saw that it ultimately didn't work, and here comes Vrabel. So maybe that had something to do with it. I'm just hypothesizing. In the meantime, though, They did get Mike Vrabel, first head coach domino to fall. Mike Vrabel, of course, coached as head coach for the Tennessee Titans for 6 years to some very, very successful seasons. He was questionable fire, in my opinion, but they got rid of him. And Mike Vrabel, of course, the same guy who coached that Tennessee Titan team with Ryan Tannehill to be the number 1 overall seed in the AFC, to an AFC title game. So has seen a lot of success with that Titans team in Derrick Henry getting the rushing game going. The defense was always solid. It was never great. But he's a good coach. He's young, and he embodies what the Patriots want to do. In-house, Patriot way. We won so many Super Bowls, good management. It's a good hire. It's a good marriage. There's no doubt about that. So we'll see what type of staff he puts together to make sure that Drake May and company are in the best position to succeed. I thought that Patriot job was a very attractive job. And Ben Johnson being the 1A prospect on the market, unless he didn't want to do it, I would have been surprised. I'm not surprised that they didn't necessarily punch harder for him because you have the quarterback figured out. You have a lot of cap space. You don't have any organizational dysfunction. They have pretty good management. You have a good fan base, a bad division. It's a good job. It's a very good job. I thought it was maybe the best. But they ended up going Vrabel, safe, keep it where you're comfortable with, and that's exactly what the Patriots did. So I have no problem with that. And we'll see if this speeds up the processes of anybody else getting head coaches. But Vrabel had no connections to any teams, so he could get hired. Done. Forget it. Now you're going to have to wait for the Ben Johnsons and Aaron Glenn's to finish up their postseason runs, the Liam Cohens of the world, and see where they land on the coaching side of things. In the meantime, yesterday, Pittsburgh Steelers took on the Baltimore Ravens, did not take them down. Lost 28-14. It was never that close. The Steelers had a couple opportunities to cut it within one possession over in the second half. And they played much better in the second half comparatively to the first. But they were always down multiple scores for the majority of the game. Started down 21-0. Another team that was trending downward towards the end of the season. The Steelers, an ugly finish, once again, to a season in which they lost to the Eagles, the Ravens, Chiefs, the Bengals, and then now to the Ravens in the playoffs. And this is a team that's started by only losing 2 games in their first, 10 weeks?
It was 10-3 is how they started the season before losing 5 straight.
So, you can't do that. Can't do that. Now my question is, based on what we saw yesterday, first of all, that Raven rushing attack is going to give Buffalo problems.
Oh, yeah.
That they're going to give Buffalo problems. And they killed Buffalo the first time. You don't know if it's maybe the perfectly constructed team to beat somebody like Buffalo. But if they're going to run for 200 yards, Buffalo's going to have a problem keeping it in front of them.
You got to put out points, and you got to put out points quick.
Yeah.
And Baltimore,
you got to make them throw it. You got to make them throw it.
Baltimore will give points, but they don't get down early. It's a more consistent type of, like, you'll get a touchdown a quarter or something like that. This offense is going to blitz you early, and that's going to mess with your mental game. So can Buffalo stay with it for all 4 quarters? Because I think Baltimore would jump out of an early lead at that point.
Right.
And then Buffalo kind of works their way back. They're going to be at home field advantage because Buffalo's got the 2 seed. So can their crowd and can just the mantra of Josh Allen and his leadership will that team back into that ball game against Baltimore? I know we're already previewing the divisional round, but that's basically what we look like we're going to.
That was my take. A takeaway from that is that Buffalo is really, really good. I mean, not Buffalo. Baltimore is really, really good when they could kind of play within their own tracks. And once they've established a lead, a small one even, and they control the tempo of the game, and they could kind of let Lamar throw it when he wants, they could let Lamar run it when he wants, and they could mostly base that offense out of Derrick Henry and company, they're very, very hard to beat. And like years past, I think the way to beat them is to put that game solely in Lamar's hands, weirdly enough. You got to make him throw it to beat you. That's what the Steelers did when they beat them earlier in the regular season. That's what the Eagles did earlier in the regular season when they beat them. That's what everybody's done in the postseason to beat Lamar. Make Lamar down points have to take you down the field with his arm.
The problem with that whole plan is that the precursor is stopping Derrick Henry.
You got to stop a first ballot Hall of Famer to do that.
Lamar Jackson will not be throwing it on first down. It's going to be a handoff to get 5-8 a first down already on first down. And then the play action comes into play. Linebackers start stepping up, and Lamar Jackson can air it out a little bit. So Buffalo, before anything else happens, has to stop Derrick Henry. Then, to stop Lamar Jackson on the throwing end, you got to keep him inside the pocket. And it's got to be a sole arm game. Because even last night, we saw little bits of it. Josh Allen, I'm getting some so confused because they both play on that beautiful out-of-the-pocket throwing style. But Lamar Jackson, when he's on the run, is just as accurate, if not more accurate, than when he's actually just sitting in the pocket. And so that's the type of defense you're going to need to play. Make him uncomfortable with settling. Because he likes to be energetic. He wants to be out there.
He likes to be a little off track. He likes to constructing his own way of going at the game. But if you make that one-dimensional and just making him throw the ball, and Lamar, and this is weird because it's coming after Lamar's most perfect offensive passing season. But that has been the blueprint to beat the Ravens, is to make them one-dimensional and to put that game in Lamar's arm and make him convert tough third downs, down points late in the game, to have to make adjustments on the fly and dink and dunk your way down the field. That is what you have to do. And we'll see if they can do that next week if Buffalo escapes today, of course. But in the meantime, on the other side of things, Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's start to call into question. You don't want to jump to too many conclusions, but if we're talking about what the Patriots have done recently in the NFL, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. You want to talk about how great they've been? When's the last time they won a playoff game? 8 years ago? They've lost a wild card the last 4 times they have been there. I think it's time to start to call into question at the top-ended nature of where the Steelers can really go. They always win their 10 games, start out hot, started 9-0 a couple years ago. You start out hot, and then they fizzle out really fast. And then the storyline at the end of the year is, well, Mike Tomlin got the most out of that roster. That roster is not as good as the record states. Every year, that is the story. I cannot deal with that.
But it's kind of true. But it's kind of true because the roster ultimately decides how you play in the playoffs.
Sure.
So he makes the roster better until the roster rears its ugly head in the playoffs.
All right. So what do? The Steelers have been a team that has been rooted in their traditional, this is our team. I know they got a new general manager a couple years ago. Before that, the guy was there for 20 years. What do we do from here? What do? Just try it again? At what point do we start to question where the Steelers should make a change? I'm not saying they should get rid of Tomlin. I'm not saying they should get rid of the Rooneys. I'm just saying this has got to drive some people a little crazy. Because what good does it do you to start out hot every regular season just to fizzle out in a big way in the postseason? Even with Roethlisberger towards the tail end of his career, when he had great rosters, they were losing games.
It's hilarious how the Jacksonville Jaguars seem to be the great equalizer because I believe this whole streak has started with that divisional round loss to the Jaguars.
2017, 45-42.
Isn't that where all of this kind of started?
Sort of, yeah, because the year before that, they lost in the conference title game. So, but other than that, the Steelers, I'm at a point where I could start to question how good can this team really get? Is this team really going to be?
So I don't think it necessarily has to start with the coaching. Obviously, Mike Tomlin knows how to deal with the roster. But the difference between Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick is that Bill Belichick had a Hall of Fame quarterback and knew how to create an offensive line to protect said quarterback. Mike Tomlin doesn't have a quarterback. Let's be honest. Russell Wilson is not that great. And he doesn't have an offensive line to help protect that quarterback or establish a run game. 6 carries for 17 yards from Najee Harris last night. That's egregious to come from any playoff team, let alone a Mike Tomlin playoff team that, for the most part, for his tenure in Pittsburgh, has had somewhat of a decent rushing attack. So this whole offensive line needs to get stripped. The quarterbacks both need to go.
I say Pittsburgh in this year's draft or next year's draft needs to step up and get a quarterback for the future. Because this whole playing around with backups and multiple quarterbacks, the Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson experiments have not worked. Failed miserably. Get rid of everyone. Go grab yourself the guy you know who's going to be the number one. Arthur Smith, I think, is a decent offensive coordinator. And I do think this roster is sad, and they don't want to just tear the wallpaper off and put some new paint up there. Clean house. The defense is decent. They struggled at the end, but their offense can't stay on the field. Get rid of the quarterbacks. Get rid of the offensive line. Go get some new specialty players, and let's create a brand new Pittsburgh Steelers offense for the future. And if you lose majority of games next year, that's fine, but you've got a team you know you can work with for the future.
Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-9 in the postseason since they lost that Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers. 3-9. And both those wins came in back-to-back years in 2015, 2016, where they won one game, then lost in the divisional round in 2015, and lost in that AFC title game to the Patriots in 2016. That is with Ben Roethlisberger, keep in mind, who is a Hall of Fame quarterback. The way I look at this is maybe Tomlin might be too above average to put them in a position to get a quarterback via the draft. Or maybe that Steelers brass, including Tomlin, might be a little too stubborn that they need to make changes. Maybe they're a little too stubborn that they're almost numb to the fact of above average. That's because that's all they are. They've never been above that. They've never been great. They're above average. They had Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Ben Roethlisberger all having career years. And they lost in the divisional round. They had to bye that year. That was when the offense was there and the defense stunk. And then you flip it. Now the defense is great and the offense stinks. They have not been able to put it together both. 14 years? What other franchise gets that free pass? 3-9 in the postseason in 15 years. Who else gets that free pass? To me, I'm not saying you get rid of Tomlin because the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and there's some teams like the Packers and the Steelers and the Ravens that don't make changes like that. They do not panic. The Patriots were like that too. They keep it together and will figure it out. And Tomlin is the ultimate culture guy. There is no doubt about that. But there's a reason that nobody goes after the Pittsburgh Steelers assistant coaches. Nobody's going to hire their defensive coordinator, their offensive coordinator. Why is that? Who is that a reflection of? Their bad roster? Or do we start to call into question Tomlin's ability to breed top-end talent coaching and player-wise? I don't know. I'm just expressing a devil's advocate. I feel like this is fair to say. 3-9 since they lost that Super Bowl to the Green Bay in the postseason. 3-9. They have not won a playoff game since 2016. It was 8 years ago. That was 2 presidents ago. At what point can we start to call that into question? And maybe the grass isn't always greener, but sometimes you have to go through the bad to get to the great. And to get out of the okay, maybe you got to go down before you go up. Maybe you got to take 2 steps back before you take 3 steps forward. The Steelers are not going anywhere. They're staying right where they are. 10-7, 9-8, sneak into the postseason. Roster has problems. Well, Tomlin has a say in the roster. They've had the same general manager for 3. They've had 2 general managers in 25 years. What do we do here? They stink in a big game. They stink. Kate, is this fair to say that maybe the Steelers should reconsider the Steeler way? Because the Patriot way, it looks like they're reconsidering that. And they won 6 Super Bowls.
The Steeler way has been be above average. The Patriot way was go win championships.
Case in point. If you're okay with that, above average, go for it. That's all you. But some people are in this league to win championships. And I don't know if the Steelers are in that business. They don't play like they are. They got a lot of problems. And they got a lot of questions to answer this offseason, but they stunk yesterday. Good third quarter, couple opportunities here and there. I agree. They do not have a lot of offensive talent. That running game is not that good. Their offensive line has a lot of rookies, so give them a break there. They have 2 rookies starting. Russell Wilson had a pretty solid season, but they don't have enough pass catchers. Fine. But at what point does the head of the snake get called into question? At what point does the king of the castle, we start questioning what goes on there? If the business just breaks 500 every single year, and we want to change up the foot soldiers every now and then, that's the major problem? Is it ever the guy up top? It's like Steeler fans are afraid to even consider the conversation. Are they afraid to consider that maybe we shouldn't strive for just above average? Maybe. Just a conversation, just a question. We continue onward here. Do the Steelers need to make a change, a big one at that? Or is this a rinse, repeat, try to put together a great roster for Tomlin? Heard that one before. Different year, same song for the Steelers. We roll on here at Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet over on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121, or visit tworld.com today.
It's ESPN 106.3, your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet. Home of the Miami Dolphins, Miami Hurricanes, and all of the biggest football matchups throughout the week. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sports book. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Theo here. EDS is yes. You've heard me say that over and over. So I need you to keep this website in mind too. EDSIsYes.com. For the most trusted AC specialist here in Palm Beach County, EDSIsYes.com. For 24/7 support, EDS is a trained comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. There are so many reasons why EDS is yes when it comes to your air conditioning and plumbing. EDSIsYes.com. That's EDSIsYes.com.
I can see this getting out of hand because I think Herbert has something to prove. I think Herbert is upset.
Herbert, pump, throw, intercepted! Eric Murray, pick six! Touchdown, Texans!
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
If you've been in a car accident, truck accident, or suffered a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine over at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys are here to fight for you. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Why settle for just any attorney? All you got to do is demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes, one phone call to take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for a free consultation today. That's 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Colin Russo, Cade Chumsman with you on Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet over on ESPN 106.3. We're live here at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Up until 12. We got wild card matchups today. We got a triple header, starting with that Denver-Buffalo game in Buffalo. That will be at 1 o'clock. Should be a fun one there. 2 games yesterday, 2 blowouts in a sense, with the Houston Texans taking down the Los Angeles Chargers 32-12. And the Baltimore Ravens taking down the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-14. They move on to the divisional round. In that one, Cade and I got to make our game-changing player of the week. So we got 2 guys that we're going to pick side by side here who are playing this weekend, remaining in the slate. They're going to be our game-changing player of the week, presented by Hexus MD. It's your partner in easy, effective weight management methods. All you got to do, visit HEXISMD.com. That's HexusMD.com. It's your partner in easy and effective weight management methods, and they're presenting our game-changing player of the week. Cade, 2 players apiece. You got one for us?
We've got a big-time afternoon game with the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Injury update. We heard this last week. Christian Watson out indefinitely for the Packers. Now, the big-time wide receiver so far who's gotten most of the touches has been Jaden Reed. But take a look at Romeo Doubs today for the Green Bay Packers. He got a touchdown in the Saints game a few weeks ago. He's been a sneaky player that's kind of gotten some touches here and there. Big-time red zone target when it comes to touchdowns. So I like Romeo Doubs to step up in the place of Christian Watson and become that true number 2 guy for Jordan Love in a game where they're going to have to air it out against the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. So Romeo Doubs is your number 1 guy?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go another receiver, but in this Washington Commander Tampa Bay Buccaneer game, and it's none other, not Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan. Mike Evans, of course, got his record. We know he's a good, proven postseason commodity. He's a good player in the postseason, and he's probably going to be effective today. But against that Washington Commander defense, it's Marshawn Lattimore. There's history there between him and Mike Evans. But Jalen McMillan has been the ultimate 1B to Mike Evans' 1A. Jalen McMillan has scored 7 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks. And he has scored each of the last 5 weeks going into the playoffs. This is somebody who's trending upward going into the postseason that Baker Mayfield trusts. He's a rookie receiver. But the rookie receivers, doesn't matter if you're a rookie. Look at Ladd McConkey yesterday. You could still be effective. I anticipate Jalen McMillan to be a game-changing player for that Tampa Bay Buccaneer offense today, because all eyes are going to be on Mike Evans and Bucky Irving. Look at the trifecta. Who's the third man in that piece? That's Jalen McMillan. I think he will have a big game against Washington Commanders. That's on Sunday Night Football, 8 p.m. kickoff. And that one, Cade, your second player.
I think you read my mind in understanding that this game tonight is going to be an absolute shootout. I don't think defenses are going to be the keys here. I think the offenses are going to be firing on all cylinders. You actually just mentioned my guy. I'm going to go with Bucky Irving on this one. We thought that Rashad White was going to be the number one back for Tampa this year. Turned out to be the rookie Bucky Irving. And in a playoff that is having some unbelievable star talent at the running back position, we're going to see Saquon Barkley today, James Cook earlier in the day. Watch out for Bucky Irving to make a real impact for this Tampa Bay team that all eyes, like you just said, is going to be on Mike Evans in the passing game and Baker Mayfield. Bucky Irving through the trenches and between the tackles is going to make some plays happen for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm going to go with the Rams offensive line. 5 guys, fine. I'm cheating, but that's okay. Rams offensive line because why? Because that Minnesota Viking defense on Monday Night Football tomorrow in a neutral site now that those games cannot be played in L.A., they're going to be in Arizona there at State Farm Stadium. But what have the Rams done well? And they protected Stafford to a degree, and the defense has played really well. What does Minnesota really thrive on? They get to the quarterback, and they blitz the quarterback a whole lot. And they kind of showed when you kind of pick up those blitzes and don't let them impact the quarterback's day all that much, that they're not as effective as once advertised. That Brian Flores defense fires and fires on all cylinders. It will be a very important game for the Rams and that offensive line that is getting healthier as the season went along here to protect Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford, once again, a proven postseason commodity, a league winner, is somebody who has been there and done that with a been there and done that coach. But you're at the mercy of your offensive line when you have an older, aging quarterback like that cannot make plays for himself, if you will, due to his age and athleticism. So protect Stafford, and I think Stafford will put you in a position to win. That is the key to the game, is that Rams offensive line making sure that they give Stafford enough time, and they can win ugly, they can win big. They won big against the Buffalo Bills, and then they won ugly just about every other game after that. San Francisco 12-6, New York Jets 19-9, and the Arizona Cardinals 13-9. So this is a team that can win both ways. All it matters is you keep Stafford upright. Keep Stafford upright. He'll put you in a position to win. They got too much talent offensively. That establishing that running game and making sure that you handle that confusing Minnesota Viking defense is going to be the key to the game. That was our Hexus MD players to watch. We roll on here at Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen, and you know what time it is. It's game time. Today, it's a wild card triple header. Coverage begins at 12:30 with the Broncos and Bills. Up next, the Packers and the Eagles. We fire the cannons at 8 with the Commanders and Buccaneers. It's game time. TikTok.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash. Rainy season is upon us. What a great time to join our $44.95 Unlimited Inside and Out Club. And use any of our 6 locations. Find a location near you at unlimitautowashclub.com or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. There's sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
This is the Delray Beach Open. Don't miss today's top professional tennis stars and legends in downtown Delray Beach. February 7th through 16th. It's 10 days of tennis on the Ave. 140 miles per hour races, parties, music, art, and all the good vibes. Come for the nonstop action on and off the court. Snap pics and post memories at the DBO. Join us for a jam-packed week of ATP tennis matches. More fun, more food, more drink, more parties, more of everything. DelrayBeachOpen.com for info.
Time now for the Land Rover Palm Beach Player of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. Every Player of the Week is eligible to win a scholarship at the end of the year. This year, a $25,000 scholarship will be awarded to an athlete, with $10,000 going to the winner's high school athletic department. Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond. Here's Cade Chumsland.
Our Player of the Week is Olympic Heights girls soccer star Avi Solorzano, who leads the team with 17 goals and also has 11 assists. Here she is on what she wants to take out of the game post-school.
Well, I'm definitely going to take out friendships. We've built an incredible bond between the girls, and obviously the talent and the skills that I've learned from my coaches and from my teammates, and the mentality, and I think I'm just going to take that with me wherever I go.
Congratulations, Avi, on being selected the Land Rover Palm Beach Player of the Week. Good luck to you and the rest of the Lions on the remainder of the season.
What's up, Heat fans? This is Jason Jackson from your Miami Heat audio experience. From every earth-shattering dunk, throw it down, to every three ball from the land of milk and honey. For three, splash! And everything in between. It's Skyhook and he called it. ESPN West Palm has you covered. Make sure you are always locked in with your favorite station to catch every single Heat game with me and the gang. It's time to ball, yo.
The Chargers are going to control that line of scrimmage.
Herbert, slam down!
They're going to control the time of possession.
Stroud will tuck and run. Stroud, big gain. C.J. Stroud takes it into Los Angeles territory.
I don't see them being able to score to the likes of what the Chargers are going to be able to accomplish.
Mixon, first down and more. Mixon hits the pylon. Touchdown, Texans.
Huddle up.
66 Hitch X Vegas Flare. I'm one ready.
It's time to break down the boldest plays.
Let's go, baby. Boom.
Hardest hits. Woo! And the craziest stories from around the NFL.
Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Cade Chumsland, as producer of this program, did not waste any time in putting together these promos, making Mike Rizzo and I look like idiots, thinking that the Chargers were going to come in and dominate. We were completely dead wrong on that one.
Oh, and we got a 2-hour show today, too.
You have more?
Oh, dude,
you made
every
7
intro.
of them?
Oh, my
God.
goodness. You betcha, bro. I listened to Russo and Rizzo from 4 to 6.
Gee, I didn't realize we said it 7 different ways. Unbelievable. Making us earn it on that one. Good job, Cade. I give you credit there. But it's Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Cade Chumsland, live from the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. We are presented by Hard Rock Bet. We got a triple header today in the NFL on the wild card matchup. We got another game tomorrow on Monday Night Football. You're going to be watching these games anyway. You might as well sprinkle a little action on it with Hard Rock Bet. Go download it now on the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. Go to hardrock.bet online to get started today. It's so easy to get involved. Even if you don't like betting a ton of money, put together a parlay, look at the Discover page, and see what other users have put together and just tail them in just a few short bets. For example, in Week 6, a bettor in South Florida put $1. First touchdown score, a parlay. 5 different players that score the first touchdowns in their respective games on a Sunday. $1 bet turned it into over $40,000. Did that on Hard Rock Bet, so can you. Go get started now with the NBA back. College basketball is back. You had a great slate of games yesterday. So you might as well, overs, unders, player props, whatever it may be, you can have some fun with it. Go get started and try it now. Get up to $100 back in bonus bets. If your first bet does not hit, that first bet, once again, can be a parlay, prop, the over. Whatever you like to bet in game you choose, you either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager. Terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMIT. So we got a triple header today in the NFL, and I'm a little nervous because now the first 2 games of the wild card matchups were not very good games. And if we look back last year, 5 of the 6 games were decided by over 10 points as well. So it wasn't a great wild card weekend last year, And I'm starting to get nervous that maybe it won't be as good once again this year. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully some of these games and some teams can start to show up and play a little bit of spoiler. But we got a triple header today with the NFL, and it starts none other than the Buffalo Bills taking on the Denver Broncos. That's on CBS at 1 o'clock, followed by the Packers at the Eagles, 4:30 on Fox, and the Commanders at the Buccaneers tonight, Sunday Night Football on Peacock. Starting with that Bronco-Bill game, Cade. Bills, one of the favorites out of the AFC. People are thinking it's probably the year for the Buffalo Bills. If you're not going to do it this year when you're not turning the ball over, the defense is a little erratic, but the offense is dialed. You have a good offensive line. Josh Allen's probably playing if not the best football of his entire career. You don't have a ton of talent offensively, but everything's clicking. You have a great offensive coordinator that probably won't be there after this year. This is it. You want and if anything, I don't think anybody's all that impressed with what the Chiefs have been doing comparatively to what they've done in years past. They're not as fired as they once were, offensively not as dangerous. Maybe we're just wrong and the Chiefs just haven't opened the playbook yet. But point is, Chiefs have escaped a number of games. You've already beaten them head-to-head this year. If there's a year where the Bills can finally break through, finally get rid of the dark cloud that is the Kansas City Chiefs over their head, it is probably this year.
If the Bills lose to anybody, right, and I'm going to say this, I say if the Bills make the Super Bowl, it's a successful year. Would you agree? Or do they have to win it?
Yes. They need to break through to that.
Okay, cool. So if they lose anywhere in the AFC playoffs, you always ask the question, all right, what can they do better? What do they need to do? What moves do they need to make? When it comes to the Bills, you almost don't even have an answer for that because everything right now is where it's supposed to be. All the pieces are working. They have built a team to win. You cannot build a better team to win when the current team is already winning. It simply comes to the matter of, can you win at the right time? And that is simply heart. That's correct coaching at the right time. And it's, can these players play better than the guys on the other line of scrimmage, on the other side of the other line of scrimmage? I don't know if the Bills can do anything this offseason that makes them better right now.
Yeah, I mean, the defense has mostly played pretty well. They've had a couple hiccups here and there, giving up a couple bad games. But the offense, dialed. Let Josh Allen play hero ball. Good. He's comfortable with that. He's fine with that. They take on the Denver Broncos today, who are looking to play spoiler with a rookie quarterback. Rookie quarterbacks almost never do great in the postseason. But Bo Nix and company, they finally trending upward a little bit after a beatdown, a tune-up game, a walkthrough, if you will, against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 18. After two bad losses to the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Chargers in the 2 weeks before that. This team's solid. This team is good because they get after the quarterback. And they get after the quarterback, and they like to force turnovers. And off of that, they like to play their game off of the opportunities that the defense gives them. Now, what are the Bills really great at? The Bills protect the quarterback, and the Bills do not turn the ball over. They are the number one in the league by a wide margin in turnover differential, and they do not let Josh Allen hit the ground. Josh Allen, on the other hand, rushing touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns. This is a guy that's going to utilize every possible action in order to get them down the field. Whether it's him running, him passing, other people passing, they get creative. So I think the key to the game for the Broncos is the key to any game. If you can somehow get through to Josh Allen and make him uncomfortable, beat him up a little bit, that is your best chance. Because if you let him, with time, in that building, figure out a way to dissect your defense, he will. So, a tall task to ask out of the Denver Broncos today. I don't think a lot of people are really expecting them to do that much damage today. They weren't great on the road. The Bills were great at home. The Broncos were 4-5 on the road, and the Bills 8-0 at home. Not an easy game. Probably if there's a game that's going to be labeled a blowout, I would say this probably is the highest probability of being that.
I would agree with you, and I think the Broncos are going to need to step up early and often because the Bills are going to wear you out with long drives. You got to force some miraculous 3-and-outs to get your offense out there as many times as possible. And when your offense is out there, they've got to score points. I'm not saying you have to put up 35 points in the first half, but every drive has to end with some sort of positive field goal or touchdown or a punt that pins them within the 10-yard line.
You got to make them feel some pressure. If they're coasting, all of a sudden a 7-point lead can balloon to 28 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If they're coasting, you're in a lot of trouble. But if for some reason Buffalo's getting a sense that you're going to return every punch that they throw, then all of a sudden things will tighten up and maybe the defense can get somebody. The Denver Broncos lead the league in sacks. So they're going to try to get after the quarterback early and often. But the Bills, once again, protect the quarterback and protect the football. You need to have one of those two give way in order for the Denver Broncos to have a chance today. You either need to get to Allen or you need to turn the ball over. And they turned the ball over 8 total times this season. 8, which is by far the top of the NFL. So if they can't turn them over, then you have to get at the quarterback. You got to get to the quarterback. So we will see on what happens in that end. In terms of differential, the Buffalo Bills plus 24. Number 2, second place, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 16. 8 total giveaways, 6 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Something's got to give. You're not going to be able to go drive for drive with them. Not in that building. Not with a rookie quarterback. Not with that offense. You're just not going to be able to do it. But if you muddy up this game and make it a dogfight, then you might be able to see the end of the tunnel. You might. That's the only way I can see that. Do you agree with that?
I actually think the other way. I think they can.
You think they got to win in a shootout?
I think they can win in a shootout, and I think you might have to win in a shootout.
Yeah.
Because if I'm the Broncos, and I'm not saying shootout like a 44-42 game that we saw against the Rams. I'm not saying that.
20s and 30s.
High 20s and low 30s. I think is where the Broncos are going to have to get to, and I think they can there. You're not going to stop this defense from scoring 20 points, or this offense from scoring 20 points. It's just not going to happen. So can you make the touchdowns sporadic? Don't give them back-to-back decent touchdowns, and then they get all the momentum possible. Make them score a touchdown, and then stop them on 3-and-out next time. Again, quick offensive drives from the Bills are going to give the momentum to the Broncos offense, rest the Broncos defense, because, again, it's going to be really cold out there, and they're not going to like playing in this environment, especially with those fans out there. The Broncos defense is going to need to have their legs for all 4 quarters, which is going to only come from getting the Bills offense off the field quickly during those drives. I think the Broncos can go blow for blow, but I think if it gets out of hand early, there's no chance you're going to be able to stop them from the rest of the game.
If they start humming, then yeah, this game will be over before it even starts because the Bills are not going to get in their own way.
No.
They're not going to get in their own way. They're not going to pull the Chargers, and the moment's not going to be a little too big for them, and they're going to hand the game off. They're not going to do that. Josh Allen, of all people, is on a mission, especially if all signs point to Allen not getting that MVP, and they don't, and they do. With Lamar getting that first-team All-Pro, Allen getting second-team All-Pro, it looks like Lamar Jackson's going to win his 3rd MVP. Josh Allen played the best football of his career this season. Add another chip on the shoulder to Buffalo. Going to be a dangerous team in this postseason. Their eyes are on taking down the Ravens and taking down the Chiefs. That, and hopefully they don't overlook the Broncos because the Broncos can somewhat hang around. Very good in scoring defense. A team that gets after the quarterback, but a team that when they're hot can muddy things up and make things difficult for you. So we'll see what happens there. That's on the first game of the triple header today. The second game of which has a little bit more questions involved about both teams because we haven't seen the top end or availability of the quarterbacks on either end really all year. And it's the Packers and the Eagles playing in that middle slate on Sunday on Fox. Jordan Love has been somebody who has his whole career been fairly erratic. First half of last year, his basically quote-unquote rookie year where he hadn't really played as the starting quarterback, really ugly. And then all of a sudden they turn it around. They really start to trend upward up into the postseason. Won about 6 straight. Then they take down Dallas in that first round. And they played well against that 49er team last year in the postseason as well. So that was a team that had a lot of momentum coming into the new year. And then that first game, they played the Eagles in Sao Paulo, and it was a good game. Good game. And they had an opportunity towards the end of the game to have a game-winning drive. And Jordan Love gets hurts his knee. Not really the same, 4 or 5 weeks, didn't play a couple games, up and down in terms of health, escape a bunch of games. The Packers are very good at one thing. They're very good at beating the team that they should beat. They're very good at beating down on a team that's below their weight class. What the Packers are not good at is beating and playing a team that is above their weight class. They are not good at beating the Eagles. They lost to the Vikings twice. They lost to the Detroit Lions twice. Punching above their weight class has not been the Packers' forte. This is another team that's above their weight class. Now, Jalen Hurts is playing today after missing the last 2 games with concussion protocol. And I would say in terms of well-rounded teams, Eagles might be top of the list in terms of well-rounded. Secondary, defensive line, linebackers. They have first-team All-Pros all over the place. Good offensive line, multiple receivers, an excellent running game, a good quarterback, multiple coaches on the offensive staff and the defensive staff that have head coaching experience or will soon to get head coaching experience. This is a well-rounded team. This is not going to be an easy game for the Packers either.
No, it's not. And the Packers, if they want to have any chance, they're going to have to stop Saquon Barkley early and often. You're going to have to make Jalen Hurts take on most of the weight. I don't see it happening, but that's the only formula for these Packers to do anything, because so far this season, when everything's been put on Jordan Love to go blow for blow with some of the best offenses in the league, he hasn't been able to do it. And he's been pressured a lot. This Packers offensive line has struggled down the stretch, and this defensive line from the Eagles could arguably be the best in the league.
Right, especially interior. The key to the Packers is if you stop that run game and make them one-dimensional, they are so much worse than what they could possibly be. I don't know if there's a bigger drop-off if you take away an aspect of their offensive game plan that is more dramatic and more apparent than the Packers in that run game. The Packers are a different team when they cannot run the ball effectively. Completely. If Josh Jacobs does not get his 15 carries for 80 yards in the first quarter, he led the league in first quarter touches, he led the league in first quarter yards. If he does not get the ball early and often, they stink. They're not okay, they're not good. They struggle mightily when he cannot run the ball. Or that rushing offense is not humming.
And I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do exactly that today. I think Jalen Carter is going to bottle up that interior. I think the secondary is going to come in and smack him at the 5-yard line if they have to.
They have aggressive tackling machines in the secondary. They have Zach Bond, who just got first-team All-Pro at linebacker. They have, of course, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and company and the defensive line. This is a team that is so well-rounded. It's just, can the Eagles stay out of their own way?
Truly.
That is the key to the Eagles. Can they stay out of their own way? They lost to the Commanders, big deal. They spotted them 21 points in that game. They lost Hurts, dealing with Kenny Pickett, all right? I'm not going to write home about that loss. Other than that, this team has not lost. This team has not lost since that Buccaneer loss earlier in the year. And that was week 4. Other than that, their only loss has been the Commanders when Hurts went down with a concussion. Quietly, has been one of, if not the best team in the league. Quietly.
And they're playing their best football at the time they need to.
Right.
It's a completely different team from last year where they started off high. I believe it was 10-1 they started off as, and then lost 5 of their last 6 and ended up getting blown out in the playoffs.
Yep.
That's not the vibes I'm getting this year from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Indeed.
I'm seeing better coaching. I'm seeing a completely different rushing attack, and I'm seeing a healthy defense. There is nothing that says to me the Packers should win this football game right now.
2 games out of the last 9, the Eagles have given up more than 20 points. One of them was 20 against the Rams, in which they won by 20 points. And the other one was the Commanders, in which the Commanders came back emphatically and won that game against Kenny Pickett. So this is a defense that is not even a bend. They don't break, but they don't even bend. Very tough task for the Packers today. Now, in terms of the Packers winning, if they have an opportunity to, they're going to have to run the ball, and they're going to have to show some of that postseason magic that they showed last year against Dallas. They were unstoppable offensively last year against Dallas, and that was against a great Dallas defense. So, somewhat of a similar task last year with Dan Quinn and company, with a great defense, great pass rush, good secondary, probably not as well-rounded as what the Eagles are now, but Packers came out and dropped 40 on them. And they were scheming guys open left and right. Crossers, the play-action game is a huge part of that, but a huge part of making sure that play-action works is establishing the run. Very tough task. Very tough task. Now, for you, we'll get into this Washington Commander game and Tampa Bay in a second. Out of the favorites, and the favorites are Tampa Bay, the the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles. Out of the favorites, is there any underdog in those three games, and in your head, can surprise some people?
That's Washington. I don't even think it's close.
So do you think the other two teams, as in Denver and Packers, don't really stand a lot of a chance?
No. And I would be excited if they did.
Because you want a good game.
And I want a good game. And if one of those teams happened to win, that'd be super cool, and it would shake up a lot of things in the playoff picture. But realistically, the only dog that has a chance in this game, in this wild card weekend on Sunday, is going to be the Washington Commanders.
And you'd think that with a rookie quarterback.
And I do think that with a rookie quarterback. I think they've got an amazing coaching staff out there. I think Dan Quinn has really put a solid team together. You're not seeing, like, Jaden Daniels is obviously a star right now, but there's not one other, like, big superstar that's taking over this team. The whole team has stepped up to what we thought they were going to be in the previous seasons. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't really step up to the plate against the New Orleans Saints. It took a lot to get back into that game. And if the Washington Commanders are going to bottle up Mike Evans the entire game, I love McMillan, I love Bucky Irving, but those two guys I don't think can win you a football game against Jaden Daniels right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a different team in the playoffs. They stepped up dramatically against the Eagles last year.
They have a winning formula. They have
against the Lions.
They have a lot of Super Bowl winning players on that roster still.
So, from a history standpoint and from an experience standpoint, this is screaming Tampa Bay. From a talent standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden Daniels can clutch up when he needs to most.
Yeah, one thing about Washington is they play with a lot of magic. If there's a team of destiny, a team of magic, mojo, a team that just things have fallen their way all season long, you'd point to none other than the Washington Commanders. They surprised everybody on Monday Night Football beating the Bengals earlier in the year. And then, of course, they had that unbelievable Hail Mary attempt against the Bears. That Steeler game was a great game. Didn't go their way, but they had that the Eagles comeback a couple weeks ago. They had the excellent Cowboy game where they lost on that kick return. The Washington Commanders have played in a number of classics all season long.
And let's be honest, when they lost that game on Thursday Night Football against the Eagles, I thought that was going to be like the start of the end for them. Okay, the magic is over. They had just lost to the Steelers the previous week. Now we're kind of done. Then they lost to the Cowboys the week afterwards. It's like, okay, they're kind of coming back down to earth. It was a great run. Jaden Daniels will probably win Rookie of the Year, and we'll see what they can do next year. Then they beat down on the Titans, beat the Saints, beat the Eagles again.
Sure, had no business winning that Saints game, but yes, I understand.
But 5 straight wins to end the year.
That's resiliency. That is it, yeah. That type of resilience is not necessarily a token of a team that has a rookie quarterback.
So
maybe he's grown and aged faster than the normal guy.
And we know they have the talent.
We know they have the talent. This is going to be a team. They're going to be motivated too. This is going to be a very pesky Washington team that is going to go head-to-head with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so I'm very curious to see how they show up, how the rookie quarterback can handle a Tampa Bay team that is probably going to put some pressure on them early with some points on the board. Of course, this game has 30s and 40s in terms of points scored on either side written all over it. But Tampa Bay can score, and they can score in bunches. We roll on here. We'll get into what's going on tomorrow night, Monday Night Football. Talking about the playoff seeding. A team that kind of got screwed by losing their Week 18 matchup, 14 wins, but they're a 5 seed technically on the road, playing in Arizona against the Rams. That is none other than the Minnesota Vikings. We'll see what happens in that game. We'll see what happens in the rest of the slate as we close out the program a little later on. Up until 12 p.m. today, wildcard round matchup. It's the wildcard special of Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay.
Let's go!
Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen, and you know what time it is. It's game time. Today, it's a wild card triple header. Coverage begins at 12:30 with the Broncos and Bills. Up next, the Packers and the Eagles. We fire the cannons at 8 with the Commanders and Buccaneers. It's game time. TikTok.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Trans World Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Improve your golf game fast at the all-new Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center has the facilities, tools, and coaching you need. Enjoy the best facilities in the area with an expansive chipping and putting area, practice bunkers, a huge putting green, plus a 2,000 square foot indoor training area with 3 hitting bays, cutting-edge analysis technology, and more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center in the heart of Palm Beach County off I-95 and the Turnpike. Find out more at kaisergolfcenter.com.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash. Rainy season is upon us. What a great time to join our $44.95 Unlimited Inside and Out Club. And use any of our 6 locations. Find a location near you at unlimitautowashclub.com or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
If you are buying a new home in Palm Beach County, whether it's your first time or you're upgrading or downsizing, the clerk's office has the services you need to help protect your investment. Sign up for our Property Fraud Alert program, offering free monitoring of Palm Beach County's official records. You will get an alert if a document, such as a deed or mortgage, is recorded using your name or address. For more information, head to our website at mypalmbeachclerk.com/homeowners. Congratulations on your new home. We are always here to help.
Hey golf fans, Colin Russo here. Looking to improve your game? Flagstick Golf Performance, the ultimate indoor golf experience, is now open in Boynton Beach. With 3 indoor simulators and a state-of-the-art putting studio, Flagstick helps players at all levels up their game. Get lessons from experts, try the latest clubs, or just come up for a round in the simulators. You can track your stats and see real improvement. Flagstick is where serious golfers and beginners find their edge. Bring your friends or family and enjoy golf like never before. Visit flagstickgolfperformance.com to book your session.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
I truly think the favorites on Saturday, specifically on Saturday, they'll probably both cover.
It gets popped up in the air. Dicker knocks it away and gets clubbed on the play, and they've got it running with it. D'Angelo Ross taking it all the way for 2.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
I'll push back here because I did not agree with Mike Rizzo's take of that all the favorites would win, because what do you mean all the favorites would win? I did not agree with that.
I told him on Saturday Tailgate, too, which you can listen to from 9 to 10 a.m. with myself and Mike Rizzo and Damian Perez. I said, I'm going to be so excited when the Texans bust this unbelievable take. Game 1 of Wild Card Weekend.
I said that, too, right when you said it. I'm like, Mike, right when you said that, I'm like, the Chargers are going to lose now. You're not even going to make it to the second half of the parlay.
Woo, buddy.
These are professional teams we're talking about. There's not that much of a disparity between them. But we roll on here at Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3. That's Cade Chumsland, Colin Russo with you live from the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach on ESPN 106.3. 3, of course, everybody knows what's going on. The tragic wildfires over in Southern California, in the LA area, in the Palisades, and the Brentwood areas of Los Angeles. A lot of devastation in suburban communities. Also, businesses just burned down due to the rampant wildfires. They need help. They need our help now. So if you're able to, please please consider donating, and please help the people affected by the California wildfires. It's in 2025. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. They're raising money there. So if you're able to, please consider donating. There's families in the West Coast of the United States that need it now and have lost everything due to those wildfires. It's truly a tragic story. It's unbelievable how something like that is even possible. It's unbelievable how rampant those things can get. But go check it out, redcross.org/ESPN if you would like to consider donating. Wildcard weekend kicks off in just under 90 minutes with that Denver Bronco game against the Buffalo Bills. Wow. And, of course, tomorrow night, due to these wildfires as well, the game that was initially slated to be held in SoFi Center in Inglewood with the Rams and the Vikings was moved to Arizona and moved to State Farm Stadium and played now as a neutral site matchup between the Rams and the Vikings, which I guess levels the playing field a little bit due to the Vikings having 14 wins and the Rams getting the home field advantage due to them winning the division. So that game is going to be tomorrow night. Still, same time and place, just a different location. The Rams, of course, finished 10-7. A team that has won a Super Bowl winning head coach, Super Bowl winning quarterback, ton of talent offensively, a young defense that's pesky, dealt with a lot of injuries in the early part of the year, but are trending a bit upward. And the Vikings a little bit have played great, really stepped up to the plate every time that's been asked of them, but had a big glaring goose egg, if you will, on their resume last week in Week 18 against the Lions. Does that loss and how they played in that game worry you about how they'll perform on Monday Night Football against the Los Angeles Rams in that playoff game?
No, because that was completely uncharacteristic from Sam Darnold, like we had seen the rest of the regular season.
Hold on, the rest of the regular season, but not the rest of his career. So
True.
Keep that in mind.
True, but when you played 16 unbelievably great games and then have one really bad game, I'm not going to say that's enough of a sample size to make me worried in this postseason. I'm sure not worried about the Los Angeles Rams right now. I know they're completely healthy. I know they have potential to put up 44 points like they did against the Buffalo Bills. But their last 4 games, outside of losing 30-25 on Week 18 against Seahawks,
Which they didn't play anybody.
They scored 12 points, 19 points, 13 points in their previous 3 games.
Very erratic team.
Matthew Stafford on my fantasy football team, I don't think got above 10 points.
Yeah.
It was really sad to watch. Now, their defense in that exact same stretch didn't allow over 10 points, and they won all 3 of those games. So their defense clearly had something figured out, but their offense didn't. And everyone was healthy through all 3 of those games. So where exactly do the problems lie with the Rams, and can they figure it out by the time they have to go play up against a unbelievable Vikings defense?
And keep in mind, the Rams already beat the Vikings on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks back when the Vikings lost 2 straight to the Lions and then to the Rams soon after. The Rams played great in that game as well. So this is a defense that they've seen before. It's a scheme that they've seen before. Of course, Kevin O'Connell comes from the tree of Sean McVay, so there's some familiarity there. But this is, to me, you're worried about them not producing offensively the last couple weeks. I'm not as much because I know that this coach and that quarterback have produced in the postseason before. Last year against the Detroit Lions, they took them down to the wire in a great playoff game in that sense. So I don't have a doubt that the Rams will show up. I think them losing that home field advantage is quite a hit in terms of them actually getting some juice out of that. I know that place would probably be filled with Viking fans anyway, but it's still in their building. There's still going to be travel here.
I think the opposite.
You think it's going to help them?
I think it's going to help them. And I say that for 2 reasons. One, the Rams Stadium isn't necessarily a home field advantage anyway. I think a lot of those fans are going to be at that Phoenix game. And I was actually shocked on how many Chargers fans there were there at the Houston game yesterday. Same city. People are having to evacuate. I know it's a tragic loss right now.
But they're getting out of the city. You're thinking they're getting out of the city, so they're going to go to the game?
Exactly.
Maybe.
I was shocked at the Texans game yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if that Phoenix Stadium out there is filled with Rams fans.
Vikings fans travel well. You know that more than anybody. It's a good fan base.
Yes.
And they with the opportunity, I should say, to get a neutral field and kind of tune it in their direction, I figured the Vikings would probably take advantage of something like that. That's probably my thinking. They did it against Detroit in Week 18 where they bought like $2 million worth of seats in that game. So I think the Vikings are going to travel well. Who knows how well the Rams are going to travel in this one. But you're concerned about the offense. Is this a game in your head that leans the Vikings turning it up and figuring it out? Or is this going to be the Vikings that we're sort of used to in the postseason where they're good in the regular season and then they sort of fizzle out when the lights get a little brighter? Lost to the Giants a couple years ago in that one. Where do you sort of see this game tilting?
It's going to be all dependent on quarterback play. Is Sam Darnold going to show us a Detroit Lions Week 18 game? Or is he going to show us something from any of the other games in the regular season? Is Matthew Stafford going to be able to escape the pocket? And I know you mentioned the Rams offensive line. I think they will do okay, but at some point that Vikings defensive line is going to find the home, is going to get home. And so can Matthew Stafford rotate through his pocket well enough? Kyron Williams has been unbelievable as a rushing attack for the Rams right now. Are the Vikings going to be able to stop him? I think it's a very low-scoring, muddied-up game. This could come down to a last-second field goal, last-second drive for either of these teams. And I don't think the winner scores more than 21 points in this game.
And a point that we're not bringing up that I do think is worth noting is that you have one player who has played in the postseason and has played in 8 games. And I know he's 4-4 in those games, and one of them was a Super Bowl run. The other was he's lost every single one in the first game. That's Matthew Stafford. So there's something to be said there. But on the other end of things, Sam Darnold has never played in a playoff game. This is somebody who has been in the league for the upwards of 5-6 years now and has played in 100 different franchises, never really figured it out. But this is his first playoff game as well. This is a different set of stakes that is going to be laid upon him in this game as well. Last week, in a lot of ways, was sort of a pseudo playoff game. It wasn't a win or go home, but this was, in terms of intensity, vibe, and feel, that was a postseason intensity in that Lion-Viking game last week. And Darnold did not show up. I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but it's something worth noting that he has not played in a meaningful postseason game since he was in college, since he was in the Rose Bowl against Penn State 8 years ago.
To be fair, he was allowed to have that pressure on him, but then not necessarily lose the whole season because of it. So that's a great experience game.
Maybe.
So, hey, here's that pressure, and now you got to go do it again. But let's also not forget, this is not the first playoff game that Darnold has been to. Darnold has been to a Super Bowl before. Because last year he was with the San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
So this is not saying that this is a completely
He hasn't been
new.
inside the building. Yes, he's been inside the building, but he hasn't been on the field.
No, and Brock Purdy has had injury problems before. So let's not say that Sam Darnold hasn't been at the ready to play in a playoff game. He just hasn't physically taken a snap on the field. But
That's concerning to me, I feel like.
I don't think the moment's going to get too big for him, especially with a Kevin O'Connell team and especially with a lot of other players on that team who have played in that environment, who have got a bad taste in their mouth after Kirk Cousins couldn't make anything happen offensively 2 years ago. Did you see that locker room after they beat the Packers? They were raising Sam Darnold to the rooftops, okay? This team is going to want to play around this man, and I think they're not going to give up on him, and I don't think he's going to give up on this team.
All right, fair. I see the point. I just think there might be some cause for concern in how he is going to respond.
Well, of course there's concern. It's the playoffs.
Early adversity. We saw it with Herbert. There's quarterbacks that are wired for the postseason, and there's quarterbacks that aren't wired for the postseason. Kirk Cousins, probably somebody who's not wired for the postseason. Dak Prescott, probably somebody who's not wired for the postseason. And then you flip it, guys like Burrow, wired for the postseason. Guys like Russell Wilson, a pretty good postseason player. Guys like Rodgers, a good postseason player. Point is, that lack of experience could be evident comparatively to Super Bowl winning counterparts on the other side.
But we also just haven't seen it yet. Darnold hasn't been here. So it's not like we can necessarily put him in a category yet.
Might surprise us.
Yeah.
He's not in a category, you're right. But we're going to be placing him in a category.
After this game, for sure.
And that is going to be
guaranteed.
So I would lean the Vikings in this one just off of they have a little bit more offensive talent in terms of they have a better running game. They're very good at getting Jefferson and Addison the ball early and often. And I know that the Rams kind of match up with that because they do have a good running game as well, and they do have two good receivers. But the Vikings just put it together a little better than them, and they've been a little bit more consistent. On the other side of things, that Ram defense is very young. You want to talk about youth and inexperience? That Ram defense has multiple rookies on that defensive line, and they have a rookie in the secondary as well. They have rookies all over the place. Will that inexperience come and show its ugly head? That remains to be seen as well. On the Vikings side of things, they have an experienced defensive coordinator. They have an experienced defense with a bunch of guys who have played in playoff games before. So off of that, I would probably lean Minnesota. The team has played too well throughout the season consistently to not show up to the door when it matters most and to not show up and after winning 14 games when everybody has counted them out time and time again throughout the regular season. Yeah, they didn't win Week 18 against the Detroit Lions in a big game, and it was ugly. But I don't know if there's a team in the NFL that would have beaten the Detroit Lions in Week 18 in that game. I don't know if there was a single team that, for the one seed at stake in their building after the season that the Detroit just had, that would show up and beat them. And the Vikings didn't. It wasn't pretty. And there was probably a couple of opportunities to keep that game closer than it was, and it was Darnold who probably held them against that and probably didn't show up when he should have. But to the same token, that's an impossible game to win. It's an impossible game to win. So we'll see what happens on that game. That's on Monday Night Football tomorrow night on ESPN in Arizona between the Rams and the Vikings, the 4 and 5 seeds in the wildcard matchup. The last one of the week will be tomorrow. We're going to make our picks of these games against the spread. Coming up next, we'll blitz the book presented by Hard Rock Bet. Stick around for it. It's Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
West Palm, it's Seacat here. You want to know my secret to losing weight fast? I dropped 14 pounds in my first 3 weeks with Metrum MD in Palm Beach Gardens. It's not a one-size-fits-all plan. It's medical weight loss tailored just for you by a team of experts. They're busy because they're the best, and the results are real. I'm living proof. With their guidance, I'm losing weight fast, staying motivated, and feeling unstoppable. Ready to transform your life? Visit Metrum MD in Palm Beach Gardens or go to MetrumMD.com. That's M-E-T, the word trim, MD.com.
Theo here. EDS is yes. You've heard me say that over and over. So I need you to keep this website in mind too. EDSIsYes.com. For the most trusted AC specialist here in Palm Beach County, EDSIsYes.com. For 24/7 support, EDS is a trained comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. There are so many reasons why EDS is yes. When it comes to your air conditioning and plumbing, EDSIsYes.com. That's EDSIsYes.com.
The South Florida Fair is almost here. Buy your advance tickets now and you can save up to 50%. Plus, if you use your discount admission ticket on opening day of the fair, you can keep it and visit the fair another day courtesy of Publix. That's 2 days of fun for the price of one.
South Florida Fair discount tickets are on sale now at Publix and online at southfloridafair.com. Fair opens January 17 in West Palm Beach.
Hi, it's Luis Fonsi. What makes a performer truly legendary? How about being the #1 bestseller for 47 straight years? That's what Ford F-Series trucks have done every year since 1976. For generations, hard-working South Floridians have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, and families. A legacy of capability and technology. Ford trucks, perfect for South Florida. See your local Ford dealer today.
Let's be honest. If your performance in the bedroom feels more like, uh-oh, than whoa, you're not alone. But don't worry, we've got just the thing for you. Hexus MD's new Performance Blend. No awkward doctor visits, no prescriptions or crazy side effects, just a powerful, easy-to-use pill that gets you back in the game. Hexus MD's new Performance Blend works in just 15 minutes, and it's stronger than the competition. Use discount code ESPN50 for 50% off your first order. Don't wait. Visit HEXISMD.com
good people? It's your boy Theo Dorsey, and it's playoff time, so it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your games all playoffs on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Think Lamar Jackson will get more than 250 passing yards next week? Will Patrick Mahomes pass for more than 1.5 touchdowns? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code THEOD to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code THEOD and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
The Chargers that I give a lot of credit to is that receiving core has blossomed in a sense.
Chargers moving quickly, sidearm, intercepted off the deflection by Stingley.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
I was dead wrong in that one, but I wasn't wrong about Ladd McConkey, who had a great game. He's a good player. Well, we roll on here with Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet, leading you up into wild card triple header action on this Sunday, the 12th of January, 2025. Colin Russo and Cade Chumsland with you, live from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Some news in the Broncos line. That line was hanging around about 9.5, 9 in favor of Buffalo for the majority of the week. And just this morning, that line moved to 7.5. That's a 1.5 shift. That would mean that a lot of money, either by a few bettors or a lot of bettors, are putting the money on Denver. And hence, that's why that line's moving. It takes a lot to move a big sportsbook line upward of 1 point, even 1.5. So
the morning of the game, no less.
The morning of the game. So there's a bunch of headhunters, a bunch of big bosses, guys who have money in their pockets that are ready to throw on the game in favor of Denver, or the public knows something we don't, and they're leaning, in the case of Denver showing up in Buffalo today and making things difficult against the Bills. So there's our, we'll have to make our pick now that line is a little bit more favorable towards Buffalo. But time for us to make our picks against the spread. Time for us to blitz the book. So we blitz the book presented by Hard Rock Bet, where Cade and I go game by game against the spread, make our picks, and then we finish it off with a player prop team parlay to finish it all off. Cade, you got our records there right in front of you. What are we at right now?
So game-wise, I'm up by 5 games, 108 to 103. Parlay-wise, it was the first time ever we both nailed our parlays last week. So I'm 5-12, you're 6-11 on the parlays. Wow. So I'm winning on the games, you're winning on the parlays, but now it's playoff time. So do we want to change anything, or do we just simply just add the few games that we have left?
If I'm down 5 in the regular part, I think we can keep the parlays. Let's double the parlays to 2, because then you can leapfrog with the win.
Yep.
On the other side, and what do you want to make it worth 2 losses as well?
Oh, I'm down for that. Really make sure you got them right?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
2 losses, 2 wins on the parlay side of things. And as for game by game, since there are only 4 games to choose from, you're going to have to increase the value in order to give you an opportunity here. Or give me an opportunity here, right?
Yeah.
So you can do the same.
So what we had been doing was adding the total wins. I had not been taking off if you lost. So we can keep the value as just 1, but if you lose, you go negative. I had not gone negative yet all year. This is simply just adding up wins. I didn't even calculate losses. So if we're going to do a player prop parlay B2 and -2, you could just do 1 and -1 for the regular games as well.
Let's do 2. Let's play hard. Let's play with fire here. I don't know about 2 negative, but we can just do the 2 positive.
Just double up both things.
Double up the games, because then it gives you an opportunity to catch back into this.
All right.
It depends.
But let's not go negative on the parlays as well. Let's just make everything double then.
Right.
All right,
like
cool.
that.
I'm down for that.
Let's do that, and we'll see how that goes. And we'll see what we pick here against the spread, and if we're aligned in what we think, then we could adjust maybe next week. We'll see what happens.
Sounds good.
All right, starting off, Denver at Buffalo. The aforementioned line has shifted. It used to be Buffalo really minus 9.5 to 9 throughout the week. Now it is minus 7.5 at home against the Denver Broncos. Buffalo rested, ready to rock and roll. Super Bowl or bust for them. Cade, what is your pick on this line?
I would have gone Buffalo minus 9. I'm definitely now going Buffalo minus 7.5.
Do I listen to the betting gods? Do I listen to them?
Ohio State didn't do you any favors to try to do that.
Hold on a second. That line didn't shift. This line has shifted. Do I listen to the gods? That means big people with power are going in favor of Denver. Do I listen to them? And I need to catch up to you. So if I just go with you...
And this is the game you want to do that with? Please, Colin, go on ahead.
No.
Go with Bo Nix. I'll stick with Josh Allen.
Denver plus 7.5.
Ah, he did it.
Lock it in.
Woo!
Get to the quarterback, Bo. Let's do it. All right. I'm taking Denver plus 7.5. I'm listening to the gambling gods. When they speak, you listen. Vegas always knows. Green Bay at Philadelphia. Philadelphia minus 5 in this one in their building. I'm going to start here. I'm not letting you sway my decision. I'm taking Philadelphia minus 5.
Yep, so was I.
Okay.
I'm writing these all down beforehand. You can't sway my decisions.
All
It's
right.
okay.
Well, you could sway mine. That's it. Washington at Tampa Bay, the Sunday night football matchup of the day. Tampa Bay is favored by 3 points in this one. Tampa Bay and Washington played the first week of the season at Raymond James in Jaden Daniels' first game. They won easy in that one, 37-20. So the first time they're playing since then. Tampa Bay minus 3. Cade, your pick.
I'll take experience over talent. Give me Tampa Bay.
I'm going to take Washington in this one. Plus 3.
That's a game that you can definitely roll with an underdog there, as we've mentioned previously.
Right. So part of me likes that offense. To your point, experience lasts in the postseason. Sometimes you have to learn how to lose in order to figure out how to win in a winner-go-home game. But magic, mojo, this is a team that has flirted with the fairy dust all season long, escaped a number of games. Maybe they'll do it today. Again, it's hard to beat a team twice. We'll see if Tampa Bay can do that. Finally, our game tomorrow night in Arizona, Rams, Minnesota. Rams plus 2.5. Technically home dogs, but it's really a neutral site game. What do you got?
I'll take talent over experience. I'll take Minnesota minus 2.5.
I'm going to take Minnesota as well. I can't go 3 games against you because then I'm dead in the water if I lose that. So Minnesota minus 2.5. I'm going to jump on that as well. Cade, your player prop team parlay, a pick against the spread, and then a player prop that you like.
I'm staying unbelievably safe this week. I'll take Buffalo minus 7.5. I'll go over on the Saquon Barkley rushing yards, which is sitting at 104.5.
That's a lot.
It's Saquon Barkley.
All right. Saquon Barkley. All right, so you like that one. In terms of the ones I like Philly minus 5. So that'll be my team aspect of the player parlay. And then I alluded to it earlier in terms of what I like. He was one of my game-changing players. Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan over 4.5 receptions. Easy. Had over 4 each of the last couple of weeks. Scored in every week in the last 5 weeks. I think Jalen McMillan is going to be utilized early and often in this one. 4.5 receptions is the over with Philadelphia minus 5. Big thanks to Cade Chumsland for helping us out on the ones and twos, keeping us on over the air over here at ESPN 1063. We'll be back at it next week with some Sunday Huddle action leading into some divisional matchups instead. Should be a lot of fun there. Everybody enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the football games. Hopefully we get good games. We're 2-2 right now. 2 bad games, 2 good games. I am hoping for 5 out of the 8 games. Good games. I feel like that's a win of a weekend, so we need to go 3 out of 4 to finish this out. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay focused. Beautiful weather today in downtown West Palm Beach in South Florida. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll be back at it. Listen to Russo and Rizzo live on ESPN 1063 on weekdays 4 to 6. We're sending you off into your Sunday. It's Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 1063.
The preceding program was paid for in full by Hard Rock Bet. Advice and opinions expressed during this program were solely those of the guests or hosts of this program and not of ESPN 1063 or Good Karma Brands.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP?